Good morning everyone. Welcome to our Gyan Jyoti online classes. So today we have a topic named the British and the Indian industries from our history department. Before we started the chapter, we have to go back to our previous chapter of, you can say previous chapter, that how did the Britishers, you can say, demotivated the Indian industries, and they were always wanted to set up their own industries through their you can say relative businessmen, and they were also, you can say, motivated the European businessmen to set up industries or establish industries in India, and you can say by set up industries in India, the Britishers, you can say, especially they destroyed the handicraft industries of India. So the Britishers executed or implemented many policies against the Indian industries as well as Indian handicraft industries. So in this chapter we will discuss about the efforts of Britishers, and about the Indian industries, how the Britishers were responsible for, you can say, downfall of Indian industries. So let's start the chapter. That India was a flourishing center of craft and industry before the British rule. Then India, you can say, in beginning India was rich in resources. That's why Britishers traveled here for work purposes, and for their greediness they were, you can say, conquest over India and drained the wealth of India to the England or to Britain. Then there were skilled artisans who worked in various industries. There were skilled persons. They had the skills. You can say the Indians are always a hard worker. So there were skilled artisans or people who work in various industries in cities. They would work in workshops called karkhanas. What? Karkhanas. This you can say local language. The skilled laborers, the skilled people in urban areas, in city areas, they were worked in many workshops in karkhanas. In villages, they would work from home, assisted by their family members. The skill of workers were for superior than their, you can say, counterparts in pre-industrialized Europe. So mostly, you can say, the European countries to benefit from the skilled laborers of outside. Then textile was the most important of the Indian industry. What? Textile. Like cotton textile, then jute textile, or you can say in simple word that cloth industry. So the textile industry was the most important of the Indian industry. Indian textile trade was a major source of earning in foreign markets. As a matter of fact, weaving was the national industries of the people of India. Spinning and weaving occupied a large number of people in India. They are during or before, you can say, the Britishers arrived in India, most of the people, they were dependable upon in farming activities or agriculture, or they were worked in, you can say, textile industries. Or many people, they were involved in, you can say, spinning and weaving of clothes. So in Sahabad alone, there were more than 1 lakh weavers. So products made by these skilled artisans were in great demand in the European markets. The main exports were raw cotton, then muslin, yarn, gold and silver jewelry, etc. Among the produce, the demand for paper, indigo, rice, sugar and various spices had a ready demand during this period. The Indian exports outstripped the imports. The exports were mainly paid for in gold and silver. In gold and silver, the exports were paid. So, however, colonization dealt a severe blow to the craft and industries in India. However, colonization means the British rule dealt a severe blow to the craft and industry in India. Okay, you can say the colonization or the colonial power, the British power, you can say, gave a very bad impact to craft and industry of India, thus turning the fortunes of the artisans upside down. After that, the downfall of the artisans or skilled laborers, okay, there was a downfall in their work. So mostly there are some reasons behind decline of Indian industries, some causes, okay, who are mostly responsible behind the you can say decline of Indian industry. Okay, let's discuss about the you can say measures, discuss about the causes. Okay, that the first one is impact of industrial revolution. Impact of so the first and foremost cause behind the decline of industry was what? Impact of industrial revolution. So industrial revolution was started in England during 18th or you can say beginning of 19th century. Okay, new machinery, you can say tools were invented during industrial revolution. Okay, then it was the result of invention and use of machines like spinning jenny and steam engine. These factories could produce goods very quickly and in large quantity. Okay, through the machines, the Europeans were able to, you can say, produce goods in large numbers and very, you can say, quickly. Okay, to keep going, these factories needed a constant supply of raw material, which was sourced from the British colonies. Okay, so the industries, okay, which were set up in Europe, they produced goods very quickly. That's why they needed what? Raw material very quickly also. Okay, and they depend upon the you can say Britishers. They were ruled over India. So in Britain, the Britain industries, they were depend upon what? Britain colonies. Then, since production was very high, these colonies came handy as markets for these goods. Okay, that's why they were also needed the market to, you can say, selling the goods. These machines made goods were cheaper or very low price and of better quality than Indian goods. Okay, Indian market was flooded with these goods, and you can say indigenous ones could not compete and started losing market. Okay, so the you can say the machinery goods, they were flow over Indian market. Okay, that's why the quality or the demand of Indian products were going down, and the demand of British goods, okay, was higher than the Indian goods. So after that, the second number cause, loss of royal patronage. Loss of royal patronage. So the Indian weavers and craftsmen had been getting royal patronage and financial help from rich and influential families. This got deprived with the decline of Mughals. Okay, so in the beginning, the Indian weavers, the workers, they got supported from the royal families. But after the Mughals, they didn't had any support from rich families, or you can say the royal patronage. That's why the workers or the you can say the skilled laborers, okay, they were you can say faced demoralized. Okay, or there were you can say no patronized persons, or there were no rich person who gave support to the skilled workers. Okay, so it is one of the most important you can say reason behind decline of Indian industries, that what loss of royal patronage means there were nobody to help the workers. Okay, there were nobody behind the workers to you can say to supply financial support. After that, loss of overseas market. What? The third, loss of overseas. So, it is obviously the impact of industrial revolution gave effect or very bad effect to Indian industries. Okay, that's why the demand of Indian goods were decreased day by day. Okay, so the overseas market, or in foreign markets, okay, the demand of Indian goods were also what decreased. So British introduced the so-called idea of free trade. Under this policy, British industrialists enjoy the liberty to export their products to India. So there was no tariff barriers or tax barriers to British industries. Okay, they you can say they freely movement their goods in India. Okay, they didn't you can say they didn't had to give any tax to Indian ruler, or you can say Indian government. So they occupied the policy of free trade, and they enjoyed a lot of liberty to export their product to India. But the Indians had to pay heavy export duty. But on the other hand, the Indian industries, okay, who export their product to overseas market in other countries, they had to pay taxes or heavy taxes. Okay, as a result, Indian textiles could not enter the European market, whereas the Indian market was flooded with British goods. The British thus took away the export market of Indian artisans and invaded the home market with imported factory products. Okay, then coercive tactics of the Britishers. Tactics means you can say a plan. Okay, the British started the process of registration of weavers. Once registered, they were not allowed to work for anyone else. So you can say the Indian workers, they were the bonded labor under the Britishers. Okay, the Britishers started a policy that the Indian weavers, you can say, had to register his or her name in British under the Britishers. Or once he or she registered his or her name, then they were not allowed to work for anyone else. So in simple you can say words, that the Indian skilled workers, they were dominated by British industrial owners. Okay. After that, or even for themselves, now only raw cotton was being exported and ready-made cloth was being imported. Okay. So these are the 4 types of, you can say, causes for the decline of Indian industries. Okay. So let's move up to the next topic, and that is what? Drain of wealth. Drain of wealth. The constant flow of wealth from India to England is known as drain of wealth theory. Okay. So Britishers came to India for business purposes, but they were attracted to the resources of India. After that, they were conquest over India and they were started to drain wealth from India to England. Okay, so this theory is known as drain of wealth theory. Okay, this type of ideology is known as drain of wealth theory of the Britishers. The colonial government utilized Indian resources like revenues, agriculture and industry for utilization in England. The drain of wealth was an indirect tribute exported by the British from India systematically. Okay, so they conquest over India and they, you can say, they executed many policies, revenue policies, about agricultural policies and industrial policies. Through these policies, they were, you can say, collected high revenue from the Indians and systematically they were drained the wealth of India to England. Then, year after year, considerably part of the wealth was drained out of India under various pretexts. In 1867, Dadabhai Naoroji put forward the drain of wealth theory. Okay, in 1867. Dadabhai Naoroji was put forward the drain of wealth theory. He stated the British was completely draining India. Okay, he you can say told that the Britishers was completely drained India. You can say he find out the ideology, he find out the actual aim of the Britishers, and that was what? The drain of wealth theory. Got it? So after that, the growth of modern industries in India. Okay, so how did the Britishers, you can say, played gamble in India, and they were, you can say, succeed over India and also establish their industries, or you can say modern industries in India through the Indian entrepreneur. Okay, so the British government in India did not want big industries in India, as they wanted a monopoly of British industries, means only on British industries set up in India by the Britishers. So, however, this attitude changed because of 2 reasons. They were faced to do so because of the growing pressure due to the growing national movement. Okay, so due to national movement, the people of India, okay, they were accepted the ideologies like nationalism. Okay, their rapid, you can say, growth of nationalism, feeling or love for the motherland. This was one of the most important, you can say, reasons behind the Britishers were, you can say, almost they were not able to start monopoly in Indian industries. Okay, or you can say one-way trade also. That they also realized that this would be in their interest too, as manufacturing in India would be a cost saving exercise and would result in maximizing profits. This led the British to invest in new and modern factories in India. These factories were equipped with modern machines and used cheap Indian labor. Okay, so in modern industries, the machinery equipments were there. Okay, through machines, the goods were produced, and what the Britishers hire, you can say, cheap Indian labor. Okay, whose you can say salary or wages was very low. So in order to facilitate raw material to factories and the end product to reach the markets, the government initiated improving the roads and started laying rail lines. Okay, for you can say trading work, for communication work, the Britishers started to build roadways as well as railways. And also improving means of communication, an effective post and telegraph system was also developed. The American Civil War disturbed the flow of cotton from America to Britain. It gave a great boost to the cotton industries in India because the good quality Indian cotton was seen as the only substitute to American one. Okay, so by the American Civil War, okay, the cotton which was exported America to India, okay, this system was stopped. Okay, and by this system or by the decline of this system, okay, the Indian cotton textile industries, you can say, was highly beneficial. Okay, the demand of Indian cotton was, you can say, increased day by day in Indian market. Okay, due to the stop of, you can say, cotton imports from America. Then, by the manufacturers in Britain and other parts of Europe, the First World War saw the British manufacturers diversifying into weapon and other warfare industries. Okay, so during First World War, okay, many companies or many karkhanas of Europe, they were diverted to making weapons or armor. Okay, so you can say it was the downfall of manufacturing industries or like textile industries of England. Okay, because many industries they were you can say set up their eyes on manufacturing of weapons and armory for the war. So this led to a boom for the Indian textile as well as the iron and steel industries in India. Means this led to a boom, means a positive points, or you can say a positive chance for the Indian textile industries as well as Indian and steel industries. Okay, by this type of event, the you can say Indian industries after the European industries where you can set up their eyes on making of armory and weapons, it was a good chance or golden opportunity for the Indian industries to set up their business or to set up their or expand their market in India as well as in overseas market. Okay, then some of the industries that grew during the 19th and 20th centuries were, okay, the plantation industries. The first one, the plantation industry. The tea and coffee plantation developed rapidly in the 19th century. Indian tea from Assam and Bengal became very popular in the world market by the early 20th century. The coffee industries grew on a large scale in Coorg region in South India. Okay, fared in a mixed manner in the late 19th century, mainly due to the competition from Brazil but recovered during the early 20th century. Rubber plantations was also in good demand. Indigo plantations an important day for the textile industries, however, declined due to the invention of synthetic, you can say dyes or fiber in Germany. So during 19th and 20th century, okay, the plantation industries were highly set up in India. Okay, the demand of Indian tea and coffee, you can say, covered the world market. Okay, and it was a competition, you can say, between India and Brazil in the field of plantation industries. Okay, but after that, due to the use of or invention of synthetic fiber or dyes in Germany, okay, what the plantation industries faced, you can say, destroyed by the use of synthetic fiber. Okay, then the second one is jute industries. Okay, the jute industry. So jute industry remained concentrated in Calcutta because of the availability of raw material. The jute factories were mostly owned by the Britishers. Okay, so many jute industry, you can say, number of jute industries were established in Calcutta in Bengal region because the availability of raw material you can say are there. Okay, the jute factories were mostly owned by the Britishers. Okay, the owner of the jute industries were most of the Britishers. Then iron and steel industries. The third one, the iron and steel industry. So the iron and steel industries led by Tata Iron and Steel Company. Tata. Okay, the iron and steel industries led by Tata Iron and Steel Company, established by Jamshedji Tata at Jamshedpur. Jamshedji Tata at Jamshedpur. Okay, so the iron and steel industries was led by Tata Iron and Steel Companies, and it was established by Jamshedji Tata in Jamshedpur. So started developing in the early 20th century. Iron and steel is one of the most important industries of a growing economy. It was important for other industries related to building activity, whether it is ships or railways, trucks or housing. Okay, in every activity the iron and steel is needed. Okay, that's why you can say that it is an important industries for the development of economic sector of a nation, or you can say country. Okay, then the Second World War gave a considerable boost to these industries. Okay, because in Second World War many iron and steel, you can say, weapons were used by the European nations. So the demand of iron and steel industries, you can say, was high. Then fourth, coal mining. Commercially, coal mining started in India in Bengal. Okay, by the economic views, the coal mining was started in India in Bengal, Bihar and Orissa. The introduction of steam locomotives in 1853. Okay, steam locomotives means you can say the train engine. Okay. Now you can say now the trains are moving through the electricity, but in old period, in you can say in previous period, okay, there were you can the engines who were you can say moving through the coal. Okay, so the introduction of steam locomotives in 1853, which used coal as fuel, gave a boost to it. So the production of coal increased during the First World War. Okay, it is you can say it is an important raw material for industries. Okay, after that, our last topic based on implication of the growth of modern industries. Implication of the growth of modern industry, that since craft industries in India had badly diminished, the skilled craftsmen had to work as laborers in factories. After the decline of Indian handicraft industries, the labor who were involved in you can say craft business, okay, they left their jobs and they were worked as a labor in different or various industries, in a coal mining sector or in iron field, in plantation work. Okay, they were joined there. Then which were mostly owned by the Britishers, who got to keep the profit. Moreover, the British owners decided the location of these factories, which resulted in some parts of the country getting developed while some remained neglected. Because the British centralized you can say their business, where the availability of you can say raw materials was good. That's why most of the parts, or they you can say they choose some special reason to set up their business. That's why many regions of India, they were neglected by the Britishers. Okay, so this is all about what your chapter number 7, the British and the Indian industries, that how did the Britishers you can say occupied the policies towards Indian industries. Okay, and the Britishers you can say were the side, okay, were the groups who were responsible for the downfall of Indian industry during their period. But after that, okay, after the decolonization was happened or introduced, many countries, they were got independent from their enemy nations. And in India also, after First World War, okay, and Second World War, the British entrepreneurs, the British businessmen, okay, they were you can say taste the success to establish the modern industries in India, like Tata iron and steel industries, then the plantation industries, after that jute industries and coal mining. Okay, but in the period of you can say Britishers, you can say it was the rose era or time to Indian industries, Indian handicraft industries also. Okay, thank you, have a nice day.